It's bad, very bad. This is reported by a girl in one of the dungeons. Empty canned food around her indicates that she's out of food, and the girl yells that she only has 20 goddess points left, and now she's going crazy because of it. The girl pulls out a ticket with a 5-star logo on it, saying she didn't want to resort to this, but since she has no choice, she decides to take the risk. She raises the ticket and turns to the world, asking it to bring her a miracle. A bright light emanates from the cave afterward, and apparently she loses the 50% guarantor as she is confronted by an office worker who is clearly frightened by what is happening. The girl in light clothing greets him, saying she called him to this world, and also tells him her name, Laura Jean Amara, also introducing herself as the honorable and first only goddess of wisdom. Damn, it's confusing so far. The office worker introduces himself by the name Kosei Keima. The goddess points her finger at him and makes it clear that he is a man who has been summoned from another world. And if so, the world has given him an incredibly powerful ability. The girl with a serious look asks him to show him the ability. Laura gets silence in response, and afterward Keima wonders where the hell I ended up. He realizes he's become part of the Ice Sky model that everyone in his world is crazy about. Keima gets to his feet, saying, "This sucks, but I guess the only thing left for me to do is to accept the fact that I was indeed summoned to another world." Laura wonders if he really doesn't understand what's going on, but she also realizes that it's a lot easier. Keima usually panics in situations like this, but for some reason Keima doesn't really want to go back to Japan right now. Keima turns to Laura, asking if the ability is a spell or an artifact, like in video games. Laura confirms Keima's thought. She raises a finger in the air and says that if someone doesn't have the ability yet, they will be able to get the ability when they pass through a certain gate, as soon as they come to the side of this world. Keima shakes his hand, realizing that he doesn't feel anything, but decides to play along with the goddess. Keima makes a serious face, saying he needs an egg to show off his skills. At first, the goddess realizes he needs a chicken egg, and 30 minutes later she holds it out to him. She, all wounded and a little flushed, asks him to just show him his ability faster. He takes the egg, and after cracking it a little with a glass, he breaks it with his finger, pouring the contents into the container. The atmosphere changes, and afterwards Keima asks the goddess to bask in the glow of his awesome ability. The goddess doesn't understand why he did it, and he explains to her that his skill is to break an egg with one hand. Then Laura starts waving her hand and clarifies. Did he really not get magical superhuman power after passing through the gate? Keima, holding up his hand, explains that it took him a whole 8 years to do this. Hell yeah, what the hell he wasted his life on. Laura is silent at first, and then falls down, saying, "Impossible." She picks up her head, saying that even though she is the goddess of wisdom in such a position, to get out of such a hopeless situation she had to use a familial summoning ticket she still got that way. Laura starts shaking and screaming with anger, and then shakes Kem, screaming that it's impossible. When the hero asks her to explain everything, Laura begins to explain that the goddesses play an important role, prompting and leading humanity forward. And that's not all, that in order for them to survive they must use the good faith and prayers received from the parishioners, and then turn them into glasses. In other words, if someone is unreasonable and lazy, their life could be jeopardized. Thinking about it, Keima realizes that it's hard to be a goddess. Then Laura begins to explain that she was being unreasonable. She had been lazing about in her room in the goddess palace for days, and before she realized it, her glasses had run out. She was thrown out of the palace into the wilderness when her existence was already in doubt. Laura continues to explain to Keima, saying that at the meeting of the goddesses she begged and pleaded, saying she couldn't live like this, and then they granted her a familial summoning ticket. Keima, standing away from Laura, realizes why she needed the ability. She takes Keima's hand, shouting that her existence now depends on him. Keima then asks, what will he get in return for his help? Laura fixes his hair and declares that he will receive eternal gratitude. Damn, that's a good one. He got the gratitude of a great goddess, a grandiose gratitude. Keima clenches his fist, realizing it's unfair. First, she calls him out and acts like this. Keima also shares that he doesn't want to help her. Keima's stomach rumbles and he tells Laura he's hungry. Laura tells him there is no food here. Keima then asks, Can't you cook some with your divine powers? Laura only responds by being rude, saying that she is a goddess, and dinners are prepared by her, not by her for anyone. Laura also doesn't know if there are any towns, cities, or villages. Leaving the cave, Kama learns that not even a month has passed since she was kicked out. Then Kama realizes she's a useless goddess, just like Aqua. Kama addresses her, saying that she's very useless and annoying. But since their job is to survive, Kama asks him to take him to a place where there is food and water. Laura clarifies, "Do I have to go too?" Kama shouts that of course you do. As time passes, they come to a tree, at the bottom of which are animals. Kama points this out, suggesting that they hunt the animals instead of picking the fruit. Laura says that there are a lot of poisonous animals in the forest. This makes Kama wonder. He decides to compare his status with the average human. An adventurer at level 20 has 160 HP, while a lion has 35,000. Kama understands this, but he assumes that if he comes from another world, he is probably much stronger than the lion. Then Laura explains to him that he's about level 2 or 3. Kama then assumes, "So I'm weaker than the newcomer?" Laura explains to him that if she accumulates enough points, she can see her status. By the way, Laura also notes that the snake uses its tail to look for prey and then attacks those who think the lion is asleep. Here's a frame of what that roughly looks like. When the victim starts eating the fruit lying around, he attacks. Kama realizes that Laura is a pretty smart girl. Then Laura sneezes, making a loud noise. Kama calls her a useless goddess again, and the lion wakes up at this time. Laura starts shaking Kama, yelling what they should even do. Kama then orders her to back off. Of course, useless goddess backs off, asking him not to do anything reckless. The monsters look at Kama first, at which time he decides to make a bet, all or nothing. He scrutinizes his movements, and afterward the lion lunges forward. Kama pushes him with one hand, then rolls over like Lara Croft and runs over to the fruit. He picks one up and begins to eat it, realizing that if this forest behaves the same way as the lions in his world, he will not leave his territory to look for it. The lion acts on the hero's assumptions and leaves. Kama arrives at their sanctuary and afterward meets a weeping goddess. She runs to him in tears and hugs him, saying that she is very happy that he is alive. Kama is a little embarrassed, asking if she was really crying the whole time he was gone. Looking at her, Kama realizes that she's always been very honest by nature, and of course she gets on his nerves, but he doesn't think it will last the whole time. Kama holds out a fruit to her, which he explains to her that it's for telling him all about that monster. Scratching his head and looking away, Kama also says that besides, he can't afford to leave her alone, and they're kind of in the same boat. Laura looks at Kama sweetly. Saying his name, she storms over to him and brutally pins him with her 2 huge eyes. Kama cuts the fruit. Let's not go into details with what exactly. Kama puts the fruit on a plate and offers to start the meal. Laura takes a bite of the divine deliciousness and admires it. Afterwards, Laura touches a strange area near Kama and stats are revealed to him. Kama has increased his level from 2 to 7, thus increasing Laura's goddess points. Kama asks her why, since she had previously been told other reasons. Then Laura selfishly explains that integrity and honesty are not limited to feelings alone, so gifts will do. And Kama is surprised at how quickly things went from integrity to selfishness. Then Kama asks why his level has gone up. Then Laura suggests it's because of the ability to Laura opens the ability window, revealing an additional skill at absorption. The absorption magic skill is a legendary SS rank ability. The owner of the ability absorbs all experience points and abilities of those he has. If the target does not have the ability, additional experience points are absorbed. Repeated absorptions increase the experience of the ability, and as the level increases, the amount of experience needed to level up also increases. Kama marvels at the ability. Fixing his hair, he states that his ability to break eggs with one hand confuses him a bit. Then Laura convinces him that she doesn't understand what a useless ability it is, because level 2 is something average, and at level 3 the owner is considered advanced. And with a level 5 high-level expert, Kama has a level 6 ability to break eggs with one hand. Then Laura asks him to imagine how many eggs he needs to break to earn level 6, and then asks him, "Are you a fool?" Kama then pulls Laura's mouth, saying he doesn't want to hear anything from her. Blushing, Laura can't believe she gave him her divine thanks. She opens his stats window, which shows that he has 5 points of faithfulness. Laura explains to him that with the believer's glasses you can get special powers. Kama thinks for a moment, and then remembers that she has told him this before. Laura also shows him the many abilities he can get. Kama is surprised that he can get poison resistance. Then Laura explains to him that at level 1 the ability will only remove food poisoning and the weakest poisons. Anyway, they remember that there are tons of poisonous monsters in the forest. Kama explains to her that even if they just get a lot of water, it's dangerous to drink it without filtration, so he thinks it would be good to protect his stomach. Laura asks him if he's a genius, because apparently goddesses are so stupid in this world that they can't even understand such a simple thing. Laura explains to him that she has never thought about it, and asks him if he is sure that in his past world he wasn't some kind of Albert Einstein. Kama calls her shallow, and Laura grudgingly explains to him that goddesses very rarely get access to the Fountain of Knowledge. The Fountain of Knowledge is a place where all the knowledge of the world is gathered. But Kama also realizes that even if you have knowledge, it's useless because you don't even understand where you can use it. Looking at his trembling hands, Kama gets an epiphany. Being able to level up just by eating food with this ability sounds very cool. Kama realizes that not long ago he was just an ordinary guy, and now he has this ability. He decides to give it another try sooner rather than later. Kama asks to be taken to a body of water, for Kama is very thirsty. Laura leads him into the forest again, full of danger. Kama asks what the creatures are, where Laura explains that they are Kleans, quite aggressive, so Kama should be careful. Watching them, Kama shares that he is not thirsty anymore. It will be hard to get through the monsters. Kama asks to show the girl the status window of those monsters, and she touches the air again, creating a status window. Klein is level 10, his stats are less than Kama's. Kama realizes that there are too many of them, so he will have to deal with them one by one. After all, he doesn't even know what kind of abilities these monsters can use. But unfortunately, Laura is already up to her super cunning plan again. She sneezes and attracts the attention of the monsters again. The Kleins then attack the team and Kama jumps on the poor girl. Kama tells her to go back to the cave and he'll figure something out in the meantime. Kama then gets up off her, picks up a stick and prepares for a brutal fight with the Kleins. Kama says he has nothing against them, but unfortunately the strongest survive. The Kleins attack Kama, he dodges and counterattacks and blows all the monsters aside. After a while, Kama comes back with a lot of Kleins because the others decided not to chase him. It happened just like that time with the lion. They don't want to be distracted from their personal business. Laura meets Kama again with a smile, but gets a bands on the head. She asks what she has done to Kama, to which she replies that she already knows everything. Kama sets down a bag of water, saying there's enough, plus Klein monsters, asking if the useless goddess can eat them. Laura then explains that you can eat everything but the red parts. Kama also asks her to get a knife that won't jam and will never break. Laura explains to him that she can give him a new one, but it will cost her goddess points. Laura raises her hands, addressing the goddess and asking to hear her will. She, in the name of Laura Jean Amara, calls for the knife. Oh yeah, prayers to the gods of Genshin Impact. That's so cool. Kama admires the knife, as it looks quite impressive. Kama starts to cut the monster, chopping vegetables. Again, don't ask where he got them from, but Kama made sashimi from Klein. Where he tasted them, the flavor was slippery and delicate, and there was a hint of sweetness in the dish. Laura asks him to feed her. Kama, of course, succumbs to the woman's charms and feeds her, saying that he is very slippery and sweet, and now she feels like she is being enveloped by tentacles full of endless happiness. So also Kama discovers that his level has increased and he has gained the ice needle skill. Outside, Kama used it as well, testing it by creating a magic circle and firing it forward. He succeeds. He comes over and licks the icicles, realizing that he has now solved the water problem. At this point, Kama has an epiphany. He goes back to the cave and prepares the sashimi again, where he gets a notification that his level has been raised from 10 to 13 and that his ability has been improved. Kama is very happy about this, and also Kama realizes that near the name of the number is experience. Give it a like if you didn't know. But Kama knew what he didn't know. He could gain experience and abilities if he ate something that had the same ability. First, he got 8 experience at level 1, and after he ate the second client, his level didn't increase, but he earned 3 experience points. Where Kama finds gaining level points is not as plentiful, but Kama realizes that he can do nothing and still gain level just by eating lunch. Looking at his hands, Kama realizes that he can also gain other abilities. He finds this to be the best outcome of events, and if the power of the ability is proportional to the level of the monster he can get it from, then he can capture and eat a strong creature such as a dragon. Kama wonders just how powerful an ability he can get, and after Kama wonders just how powerful an ability he can get by introducing different creatures. Happily drinking the water, he realizes that with this ability no one can challenge him, and he can live a quiet, carefree life doing whatever he wants. Where Kama is just as happy that he doesn't have to worry about water and food. In the same place, Laura explains to him that if he needs a good place to hunt, she has just the thing. She also says that because she is very generous, she doesn't mind helping him. Kama explains to her that he doesn't need help and asks her to keep her ears open, where Laura finds that rude, but Kama doesn't think so, for he doesn't want to be in such a stressful situation again. Laura says she was just a little unlucky and will be more helpful next time. Laura also asks him not to leave her, and so began Kama's new life in another world. The next chapter begins with Kama thinking that if the goddess is to be believed, he, Kosakai Kama, was called to this world and given a special skill called absorption, where he gains a level through food. Now Kama is in the forest, realizing that he wants to test the possibilities of his power. Laura points her finger at the tree where the hell the chickens are flying. Kama is surprised by this, but I'm damn surprised too. By the way, Kama asks Laura about the fact that when he got the egg, she looked very suspicious. At this point, Laura is mortified because she seriously thought she was going to die when they started running after her. Kama apologizes, for he disturbed those bad memories. Laura looks around, and then since those annoying chickens are in front of her, this is her chance. Kama asks what the annoying ones are, and Laura is already rushing forward, saying she's using her divine powers to keep them from escaping. Laura orders her companion after her to attack and finish everyone off, where Kama grabs her from behind, stopping her. Kama tells her to just go back to the cave because if she doesn't like it, if she stays here, something is bound to go wrong. Laura doesn't like it, so he kicks her out since she has a chance to restore her honor. Then Kama argues with her, asking what will change, because tomorrow she will find a way to lose her again. Laura pushes Kama away, saying she'll do it all herself, and after he sees what she can do, there's no way he'll accept his apology. Laura lunges forward and Kama tries to stop her. Laura puts her hands forward, summoning a divine aura. She invokes divine magic, saying that her opponent will be unable to do anything but kneel. The system unfortunately tells Laura that this skill can't be used without goddess points, and Laura realizes this. Then the chickens attack her, where Laura asks Kemu to help her while the chickens chew on her back and something else. Kemu looks at her, and since it looks terrible, he decides to help her. Using an ice needle, he shoots the chickens and defeats them. Laura is not happy that a chicken pinched her cheek, and Kama asks her to just be happy that she survived. Kama decides to round up all the chickens and get out of here, but 2 roosters appear before them. This is where Laura asks to be much more careful, for these are hell roosters. Suddenly, Kama lifts her up in his arms, saying that he remembered that Laura could be useful. He puts her body forward using the divine barrier technique. Kama asks her to dodge them because he believes in her. As Laura jumps from the roosters, Kama realizes it's getting hot in there, but she seems to be doing okay. After a while, Laura complains to Kama, as her face is on fire, and complaining about those hellish roosters. All Laura gets in response is silence, and afterward asks with a snide smile, "Is he angry?" Kama complains about her, as she is a completely useless goddess. He turns to her angrily, saying he's sick of dealing with the problems she's setting up at every turn. "Man, dude, don't you think that's weird? She's already explaining things to you. She's wasting your time." The poor girl shuts up, where after she explains, saying that she may be the cause of some of the difficulties. But Kama says it's been so long and she's not even in shape. There's an awkward pause, and then Laura falls to her knees, apologizing for what's happened since then, where she promises him that she'll obey him in everything. Keima is a little ashamed, but still he realizes that Laura is really honest and loyal. Then Keima forgives her, but on one condition. Keima is stacking branches for the fire, Laura behind him telling him that while she wouldn't mind helping him, why should a goddess do manual labor? Keima responds by telling her to talk less and do more. Keima tiredly takes a bite of raw chicken. Though it tastes nasty, he gains the flamethrower ability. Eventually he puts it on a skewer. Salting it, he uses the flamethrower skill and starts making local grilled chicken. The chicken is grilled, and it makes Laura drool. Kemi takes a bite of the chicken and begins to admire it. The chicken is crispy, the meat is very juicy, and even one bite makes his mouth water. Laura watches this with great appetite, where Keima notices her and afterwards holds out the chicken to her, asking her to stop staring and start eating. Laura takes a bite of the chicken and describes the dish in the same way as Keima, but adds that it is exquisite. But suddenly Keima remembers something. She turns to Keima and says that she had forgotten something. It turns out that forest chicken meat can cause poisoning, but Keima is thankful for her ability to resist poisons. A few days later, Keima is still farming. He also defeats an evil tree, where he finds out that even eating the bark gives him experience. During these days, they hunted monsters every day. Meanwhile, events move to the chicken coop, where it is very quiet, and then Laura realizes that the Heavenly King of Chickens has returned. The Heavenly King is crowned one of the 4 holy beings. Because of this, Keima thinks that if ordinary chickens are nasty, the others are no less nasty than those very ones. But Keima asks if they are just chickens, to which he gets a request to underestimate them and they need to walk carefully so they don't run into them. Heavenly King Suzaku appears before us, where our heroes are already looking at him, realizing that he doesn't give a damn about anything. Keima realizes that this is a great opportunity, and so he pulls out a knife, where at this time the Celestial King emits a tremendous energy that Keima feels. Keima realizes that even when he is asleep his power is incredible, and he also realizes the power of one of the 4 heavenly knights. Keima attacks with Suzaku's knife and surprisingly defeats the Heavenly King. What? Did you understand anything? Laura does too, so she calls it ironic. Finally, Keima decides to eat. He takes a bite out of the monster and improves the ability. If level 3 isn't bad already, Keima has high expectations for level 5. He also has a weird, and he asks us to keep in mind that they've seen even that before. Eating the fruit, where Keima realizes that it's been a week since he got to this forest, and now his level is 16. He's also improved his abilities. By the way, besides the abilities he got from eating monsters, with the believer points he got when he fed Laura, he also got additional abilities. Keima realizes that he had to spend a lot of points on healing magic, and he also talks about purification magic, which is just as indispensable as healing. To top it all off, Keima pumps up his sword skills, which is every guy's dream. At one point, Keima is called up by Laura, handing him a white silver sword that she made herself. She blushes slightly and tells him that thanks to him, she was able to regain some of her powers, and this sword is the least she can give him. The events move deep into the forest, where Keima has decided to test his strength. Laura asks what monster he can defeat at the moment, where Laura mentions a rabid boar and tries to imagine him, where he imagines a small boar. Laura shows him his habitat area. Keima also notices a chocolate tree that tastes like chocolate. Of course, Keima tries it, and indeed it tastes like chocolate. Laura also tries to reach the branch, but unfortunately she doesn't succeed. Keima, watching her, decides to help her and lifts her up. His hand slips a little, but it doesn't matter, he clutches awkwardly, realizing he meant to lift it, but for some reason his hands started moving on their own. Laura is of course embarrassed by this, and Keima explains that his hands only slipped. Laura then calls Keima a jerk, but he's already handing her a pacifier in the shape of a branch of chocolate. She tastes it and likes it very much, but Laura immediately starts to fuss. Keima realizes that she's a girl after all, so it's Keima's fault. Keima explains it to her, and then says that since she's so serious, blushing, Laura trusts him, and then they find an angry boar about to attack them. Keima bares his blade, where he looks at it and decides it's time. As the evil enemy approaches, Keima and Laura are there. Keima discovers that he is level 828, and since Keima's level is 563, yes, I forgot to mention that he upgraded it before, Keima realizes that their stats are also slightly different. Laura believes in him, which she boldly reports to Keima. Then the boar gets angry and attacks the team. Keima uses fire, but the boar absorbs the fire and keeps running. Keima asks him to attack, but moments later, the boar falls. Keima looks at his hand, realizing that the level 5 flamethrower magic he will get from Suzaku does strange things. Laura realizes this, realizing that he can defeat anyone. Time passes. Keima cuts the boar meat. After roasting it and salting it a bit, Keima realizes that it looks great, and then the whole dish is ready. Where Keima tastes it, describing the flavor as subtle and bright. Anyway, he gets the skill, and though it's not very flashy, it's no less powerful. Time passed. Keima continued to level up, and before he knew it, he was level 843. Laura explains to him that she wants to eat something healthier, like chicken, but Keima explains to her that it contains poison. Where Laura remembers that if she spends her goddess points, she can also get immunity to poisons. After a while, Laura sets off, preparing to find the chicken. But suddenly Keima senses something and jumps on Laura, saving her from a sudden blow. Keima is able to save the girl, and then he hears the monster's words of praise, mentioning that he defeated Suzaku. The monster appears to be the strongest of the 4 heavenly knights, a reckless brave Byako. Kigo thrusts his sword forward, realizing that he has decided to avenge his comrade. Turns out not, because he and Suzaku were rivals, and there's no way he'd call him an unworthy foe. And since Keima is the victor of Suzaku, his warrior instinct demands to face him. Keima asks to show himself, then a medium-sized rooster comes forward. But Keima was confused by something else, namely the aura of a very creepy monster, just like back then with Suzaku. This annoys Keima a bit. Then the rooster asks the young man to start fighting. After the great Suzaku uses reckless bravery, lunging forward, he tries to strike, where Keima counter-attacks him, but Suzaku absorbs the fire and Keima realizes that he has cancelled his ability. Eventually Suzaku successfully attacks him. Keima flies away and then coughs up blood. Based on this, Suzaku is surprised that Keima was able to avoid being hit, so he attacks again, shouting that he's done for. Keima uses an ice needle, and Suzaku then uses fire to deflect his attack. But unfortunately that was Keima's plan, and in the meantime he released a lot of ice needles and successfully hit the chicken. Keima realizes that this is his chance. He uses a powerful dash and successfully attacks the rooster. The rooster's last thoughts pass between his eyes, and then he falls without power. Keima coughs up blood again, where Laura runs up to him and asks him not to do such reckless things in one choku again. At this time Keima realizes that he has the soul and strength of a warrior, and it turns out that this is the first opponent he can call worthy. For a moment Keima is silent, screaming that he already thought he was going to be dead. Keima is eating now, thinking about the fact that after that near-fatal fight, Byako went straight to his belly, and he got reckless courage as well as a drilling spiral. It's been a week. Laura sits in the bathtub and enjoys the water and the joy of living a life without worries. At this time, a snake crawls up to Laura and scares her. At this time, Keima is resting and thinking that it is time for him to get out of this forest, where he doesn't find stability and a soft bed, and so he would like to try an adventure that doesn't threaten his life. At this time, Laura in a towel runs away from the monster, where Keima ignores her because lately it's been super boring here, and he just wants to enjoy life in this world. After a while, Laura complains to Keima that she wants to leave the forest as soon as possible, to which Keima replies that he has already thought about it. Laura asks him how much longer he's going to level up, because when he's about to leave, Laura wants Keima to take her too. Keima comes up to her and slaps her on the nose, asking her why they are in the forest. Laura replies that she's been doing some thinking and he should know about it, to which Keima replies that he has his own worries and he's had enough of them. Laura then delves into her memories, where we learn that she was banished not because of her divine powers but because of her behavior, and that the main goddess also asked her to reflect on her behavior and start presenting herself as a goddess of her status should. Laura stops talking and then turns to Keima, saying, "What the hell? Everyone treats me like an idiot, even though I'm trying so hard." Keima tries to start a dialogue with her, but it's too late because Laura starts running away in tears, telling Keima that she will get out of the forest on her own and that she doesn't care about Keima at all. Keima sips tea in silence, and then 2 hours later he thinks of Laura, thinking that she will be back soon. His great musings are interrupted by a chick, and looking at it, Keima realizes that he is very worried about her. He removes the fledgling from his head and asks him, "Have I said too much?" Then the chick explains to him that he is not watching his tongue, which makes Keima very angry, and as a result Keima feels devastated. After a while, Keima is still lying there thinking about Laura and how she has been like that since they met, honest, sometimes serious, worried about him. But suddenly he hears Laura's voice, where she's running away from the roosters. Keima immediately rushes to help her and uses fire magic, and then notices other needle-shaped projectiles and fights them off with his blade. An unknown silhouette looms. It turns out to be Genbu, one of the 4 heavenly kings, the wisest among them, and clearly displeased that Keima has killed his comrades. Keima is about to attack, but Genbu stops him, saying that he didn't come to fight. After all, Genbu heard about him defeating Suzaku and Bayako. Then Sairyu and Genbu start studying him. Damn, so their names aren't all called Suzaku? Write about it in the comments. Genbu challenges him to a duel to determine who is stronger. Then Keima asks what will happen if he refuses, because it is very profitable for him to do it. Then Genbu makes it clear that he will not leave him alone. Coming at night, he will cock-a-doodle-doo and annoy Keima. Keima agrees, and after Genbu flies away, Keima goes to Laura and picks her up. Laura thanks Keima for saving her, and then Keima suggests she get out of the forest. Laura then reminds him that he has a duel, but Keima decides not to go to it, as they have specifically called him to fight in their territory, and it is possible that they have placed countermeasures against him. Clenching his fist, Keima shouts that the best option is to ignore them, not to go to the duel, and then if they come back, they will fight on their territory. At least Keima wouldn't want to be backed into a corner like he was the last time. Lore jumps on Keima, yelling that he's very smart. She admires Keima, and he's happy that Lore is so obedient. But suddenly Lore remembers something. Immediately she says she doesn't care and has no intentions of relying on him to get out of here, and she can do it herself. Keima realizes that she's back to her old ways and then takes her by the head. Keima tells her that even though there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that she has hidden potential, he will regret missing the opportunity to see it in her. Laura, after some thought, decides to continue to sit on Keima's neck. Jumping on him, she screams that she was lonely, where Keima scratches her on the head, and it turns out that they set off from the forest to find the nearest settlement. Laura puts on her subordinate's cape, and afterward begins to head to the nearest town. After a couple steps, she comes back to Keima, who hasn't taken a single step the whole time. She shouts at him that he hasn't made a single step, and then Keima asks her if she has used the Fountain of Knowledge at least once, because a goddess should know at least the approximate geography of this place. Laura explains that if he sees the route at least once, he can tap into the Fountain of Knowledge and make a map, where it turns out that unfortunately she can't calculate the length of the path from point A to point B. Keima rehashes all of this, saying that she just needs to see the city and she'll know how to get there. And as this turns out to be true, Keima lifts her up in his arms and jumps up, showing her where the fortress city is located. Laura starts to shake and gets scared, as she still has a lot to do in her life and doesn't want to die. After a while, Keima rubs Laura's back, saying he doesn't want Keima to do that again. So Keima and Laura begin their journey. It turns out that they destroyed all the monsters on the way, and to get out of the forest without attracting attention, they walked. At one point, Laura turns to Keima, asking what he was doing now. Keima was collecting materials from monsters and sorting them to sell in the city. Keima also asked Laura to use her ability to find out how much they are worth. After 3 days, they finally reached the city and Keima leveled up to 1256. The events move to the city of Kelville Fortress, where Keima and Laura finally arrive. Keima also discovers half-humans in the queue, and he is happy to be in such a wonderful world. At one point, the roads in front of Keima are closed with spears, where a guard asks to see his ID for a pass to the city. Keima asks Laura what an ID card is, Then Lore explains that in this country you can get an ID card from any of the guilds, and the ID card itself looks special because it shows your job, rank, and status in society. Keima realizes that he needs an ID to trade and work, and the guard asks how Keima could live without such basic information. Keima then apologizes and deceives the guard by saying that he came from a distant land, so he didn't know it. The guard then advises him to go to the Adventurers Guild, where he can get his status and a card that can be used as an ID. Keima is surprised by this, where the guard explains that if they had chased them away and then they became bandits, they would have gotten into more trouble. Keima thanks the Taikas, saying that they are now indebted to them, but at one point the guardian tugs Keima's shoulder, asking what country exactly did he come from? Lore realizes that the fool doesn't understand anything, and then Lore explains that they came from the northern forest. The guards start laughing to tears as that forest is too dangerous, and even B-rank adventurers don't always do well in fights. And while the knights were laughing, Keima slips in unnoticed and is simultaneously amazed that that forest was too damn dangerous. Events shift to Kelville's Avuniturist Guild, where a registrar named Effa greets the Jers. Effa sighs, for Laura and Keima seem to her that these two people with unknown histories are just a new annoying problem for her. Keima explains that the guards at the gate sent them here, but Keima also asks if it's true that people usually come to the guild to get a job opportunity, to which Effa replies positively. Effa shows him the ranking table and makes it clear that in this city the reward for completing tasks is based on their rank in the guild, where newcomers start at G rank, the lowest, and to get up to F rank they need to complete 5 tasks at rank 6, and for ranks E and above they need to pass a promotion exam. Keima realizes this, and then asks what if he is already stronger than G rank. Then Effa makes it clear that their guild is built on trust, so they don't make any exceptions. Keima realizes that if there is nothing he can do, he will have to accept it, because if there is no other way to make money, he will have to start from scratch. Where Laura calls him and clarifies that if he raises the rank, their income will increase, and since the rank is based on the number of completed tasks, they just need to take a lot of simple tasks, right? Keima is surprised by this, as Laura finally says something intelligent. Effa turns to the heroes, selfishly stating that they look pretty cocky for someone who hasn't even started yet. Effa doesn't care either way because all newcomers behave the same way, and these two are no exception. So Effa finally decides to formalize them and gives them the paperwork to fill out and demands a fee of 30,000 bars. Effa also says that if they don't have the money, they should sign these documents for a receipt for the debt. Keima was embarrassed at first, but then he pulled out his materials. Effa was surprised and called the materials unusual, and Keima said that you can sell everything for 40,000 tabarka. Effa also warned him, saying that it was too risky to do business with a man about whom nothing was known. In Kelville, the most valuable quality is trust. Effa asks that this be remembered well. Effa then approves the signatures and provides the guild members' cards, and also informs them that these cards respond to magic and the owner's fingerprints. Laura takes one card and looks at it, marveling at it at the same time. Keima tells her that now she can find the motivation to do something, where Laura replies that she just thought it was okay to appreciate what the commoners don't appreciate at all. After a while, Keima looked at the list of jobs on the bulletin board, and then they decided to take the task of collecting caterpillar larvae for 1,000 bars. The events move back to the guild, where Effa is sighing heavily. One of the employees notices that Effa looks rather tired, and Effa reminds the employee of the strange guy who was just here. Effa complains that he took the caterpillar larvae assignment and that it is one of the most difficult of all the G-rank assignments. At this time, Keima and Laura enter the building and give the report. Effa thinks they were too quick and probably made a mistake, but there is a customer's signature on the assignment, so she has to pay them 1,000 bars. Effa wishes them luck on their next assignment, and after silence, she slaps the table sharply, wondering, who are they? At this time, Keima and Laura are walking around the city, where Keima realizes that 1,000 bars is only enough for one night. Keima realizes that they are back to square one, where Laura is clearly not happy about it. She complains that they don't go to luxury restaurants and high-end resorts, where Keima explains that they won't, and from now on they only sleep in cheap lodgings. The events move to the Crescent Moon Tavern. Keima enters it and meets a lot of interesting people, where we learn that the tavern is run by adventurers from the guild, and it feels like everyone here is ordinary, and Keima and Laura stand out from the background. At this point, the tavern manager named Asha calls Laura and Kema over. Kema realizes that cheap rooms aren't so bad, and after Kema and Laura sit down at the table, where Asha walks up to them and greets each other. Asha presents them with dinner for tonight, namely a frog sandwich. Kema realizes from Asha's words that he obviously doesn't like the idea of eating frog, and neither does Laura, so she says she's not very hungry. Then Kema asks her to stop showing off and start eating. He puts the sandwich in her mouth and she eats it right away. Laura liked the sandwich because it had a strong, rich flavor of meat, and the fat that soaked the soft, fluffy bun made the sandwich very juicy. While Laura was admiring, Kema found nothing wrong with this frog. Yes, you probably eat frogs every day too, friends. But Kema tells Asha that it was delicious, so as not to seem like a freak. Asha is very happy that they enjoyed it, and as the owner of the place, she is very happy to hear that they were able to experience the friendliness and hospitality of their town. Kema talks to Asha, and afterwards Kema asks Laura if goddesses exist, and Laura doesn't understand what he says about Asha, thinking that Kema has succumbed to her charms, and asking Kema to admire her more often. There are strangers watching. They are not happy that some newcomer is flirting with Asha. They don't like it because he has only G rank, so they want to teach him a lesson. But one colored man cries out not to fight him because he has an idea. His name is Aniki, and he comes up to Kema saying they can have a drink on him. Kema refuses at first but realizes he looks like he is going to fight, so Kema agrees. Kema drinks the beer and experiences the lemon flavor and fruity sweetness. He likes it where Aniki asks him to keep drinking as everything will be paid for by him. At this time we find out that Aniki will get him drunk to embarrass himself and never show his face in their town again. Kema drinks even more and doesn't get drunk, and Morgan is surprised. He drags more and more beer, where after 2 hours Aniki is already completely drunk and falls off his chair, because he's obviously overdrunk. Then he finds out that Morgan himself is famous for his resilience, and in the end it was Morgan who was embarrassed, not Kema. Looking at the beer, Kema realizes that his ability to resist poisons affects the beer as well. Asha is surprised by Kema. She approaches him and asks him if he is alcohol resistant. Bending over and showing her beautiful necklace, she gets up too fast to Keme. This embarrasses him. And by the way, Asha continues to riz with Keme, saying that she also likes to drink and she herself gives form to many. Also, many gentlemen tried to persuade her to drink, but few followed her. And since Asha has seen him so resistant, she pushes Kema with all sorts of facts. Asha realizes that she has been very rude to Kema and smiling sweetly asks him to keep it their little secret. Kema of course succumbs to the woman's charms and mentally shouts, "Cheap taverns are the best taverns." In the next chapter, Kema and Asha are having fun. Kema is sitting in front of Asha and they are about to do something obviously weird. What is it? Asha confesses her feelings for Kema in a dream and calls him dear. Then strange noises start coming out and Kema sleeps and falls off the bed, where it turns out he was dreaming the whole thing. Laura asks Kema what he's doing here, because you can't scare people in the early morning. As Laura looks angry, Kema asks what's wrong, where it turns out that Kema's conversation with Laura is making her feel jealous. Kema, hugging a pillow, realizes he needs some more tenderness, and afterwards Kema asks Laura if she can make things like soft futons. Kema explains that it would be easier for them to make money making things by selling them, where it becomes clear that everything is forbidden, because for all but the minions of the goddess it is categorically forbidden to use or trade objects containing the power of the goddess. Laura also explains that if they do not, they will be punished for such a transgression. Events move to the Adventurers Guild. Thanks to yesterday's food and cider, Kema's level has risen again to 1335. In the Adventurers Guild, Kema meets the same colored rival. Kema thanks him for paying for the drink yesterday, but the colored man frowns and then explains that he just wasn't feeling well, and because of that he couldn't beat him. He asks Kema not to think too much about it because the victory was just a fluke. Kema realizes that this guy isn't giving up, but at the same time he realizes that he can't just start hating people like this. Kema also remembers that he needs to check his level and discovers that the man's name is Mogurgan, as well as his level 60. Laura says that the average adventurer is level 20 to 30, so this guy is pretty strong. Laura explains that he can become an important person in this city with at least a 3-digit level. Kema also realizes that with his 1335 level, he looks quite strange, and Laura also finds it strange. Lore doesn't even want to talk about the fact that he learned to use magic right after arriving in this world, because magic is a very rare talent and usually only 1 out of 50 people can master it. Kama and Laura also find a beautiful monster-burning order and think it's perfect for them. But then a beast man runs up to them screaming that the order is for her. An awkward moment ensues, and then Kama realizes that there is a girl with rabbit ears and a dog's tail in front of him, where Kama realizes that the beastmen are apparently called beastmen. Beastman is about to give up his seat, but Kama snaps that order and hands it to the girl because he looks like he wants to take it. Kama also explains to her that there are a bunch more orders for the G ranks that they can take. The girl is surprised because even though her specialty is fire magic, she still managed to fail 3 orders in a row, where the girl takes her order, thanking Kama and saying she will never forget it and now she will be indebted to him for life. Kama asks her not to exaggerate, and Laura asks why he's so nice to all the girls but her. Kama explains that he just likes nice and polite girls. The events are transferred to the production shop where the girl is received by a strange guy with a mustache, saying that he doesn't have many employees and therefore he would be grateful for their help. Where it turns out that this guy is very ugly at heart, calling the girl a G-rank brat, and he's obviously not going to pay 4,000 bars to nowhere. The girl goes to the furnace and brings the garbage, saying that if she uses magic to use the furnace, it will greatly reduce the emission of harmful substances. So she uses fireball in the furnace, because usually raw garbage has a lot of moisture in it, and to burn it completely she will need a lot of mana. Finally, everything is over, but the brazen man wants the girl to burn 20 more bags of garbage with the size of a goblin. The girl is not happy about it. Then the man turns cunning and promises to pay in full, saying that he also believes in the goodness of the girl's heart. This causes the girl to turn away, for this would be a typical task if she were a slightly stronger mage. Using the fireball again, she burns the trash and then falls down, saying she only did part of the job, but her mana ran out earlier. The freak praises the girl and then pays her only 300 bars. The man apologizes because she couldn't burn all the trash, citing guild rules, so he should consider it an unfulfilled task, but despite that he gave her 300 barca with his divine kindness. The girl complains, saying that didn't he ask her to burn more than the order specified? But the freak gets angry and changes his face, shouting that a real magician would definitely do the job, and if that's all she's capable of, no one will ever hire her again. The man suggests that she stop practicing magic and the girl starts crying. The girl goes home with a cane, not knowing what to do, because she needs more money and she can't pay for the apartment with only 300 bars. At one point she falls down and starts to lose consciousness due to lack of mana. After a while, someone brings her back to her senses, and it turns out to be Kama. The girl realizes that they are the people she met today, and Kama also asks her not to be afraid, because they won't do anything to her. Kama and Laura introduce themselves, and the girl introduces herself as Femel, and apologizes for having to help her again, where Femel finds them a bit strange, but she doesn't think they are bad people. Laura tells everything that happened to her before, and Laura is very unhappy about it, shouting that she can't forgive such rudeness towards Familian, and then asks Kama to confirm her words. Kama realizes that this is a clear violation, so they decide to report it to the guild. But Familian explains that it would be difficult to make a report of the offense, because she herself agreed to it. Laura gets angry, asking who cares because that order said garbage pickup, and then now they're gonna go and pick up all that garbage. Kama thinks she's joking, and then Laura honorably asks if Kama is gonna let this injustice stand, because after that man made Familian Tion feel miserable, where they should get revenge on her. Kama only says nothing in response, and Laura is about to do it all herself, heading off to deal with the situation. At that moment, Kama grabs her by the shoulder, telling her that she can't handle it on her own and she should leave it to him. Laura turns around with a smile and they head off to that freak's estate. At this time, the man with a smile collects coins, saying that all newcomers are very gullible. Suddenly someone calls him. It turns out to be our heroes, saying that they are acquaintances of the girl who took their order. The man realizes that they are just as simple-minded and he decides to just send them away and asks what they want from her. Kama explains to him that he heard that he changed the task abruptly, and not only that he didn't pay her 4,000 bars for the first task. Then the stupid man asks her not to spread rumors about something that didn't happen, and all he did was change the details of the order a bit, not to mention that she herself agreed to his proposal. Either way, he changes his face and screams that she was too weak and he can't be blamed for her weakness, where he was full of good intentions, but he can't expect such a low-ranking dumbass to accept him. The dumbass man asks simply to thank him for giving her a chance. Keima understands everything. He ponders, saying, how do I deal with someone who is much weaker than me without killing him? Thinking about it, I can try something. In such a case, Keima pins the dumbass against the wall, saying that one day he will definitely get a rank in this city, and will then show his gratitude to this creep by destroying his little store. In response, the man is silent at first and then asks him not to make him laugh, as he doesn't know where he comes from or who Keima is, so he asks him not to be a hero. Keima decides to burn everything himself. He goes to the furnace and throws the garbage into the furnace. Using 15% of his power, he charges his magic, and then with his bare hand he creates magic and burns all the garbage. At this time, the old man is thrown back by a blast wave. Keima comes up to him and asks him to listen here. He introduces himself as Kosakai Keima and promises him that he will become the most powerful in this city. And on that basis, he scares the old man, saying that if he wants to become his enemy, then he should change his mind. Laura takes Keima by the hand, saying that he's just a wonderful mage. The old man hopes it's all a dream and gets very frightened, saying he'll give them the money. Keima realizes that everything is settled and he gets 46,000 in total for Barca. Keima realizes that the situation was nervous and he could not get used to such behavior. After a while, Keima is in town where Familian calls Keima. Keimu decides to split the reward from the mission in half, as it is the fairest way. He gives the million a sack full of coins, and she counts it, realizing that there is too much gold in one place. Keima explains that he was just an escort, and if she wants to thank someone in any way, there is Laura for that. The million thanks Laura with a wide smile, and now the team has money anyway, and Keima suggests that Familian grab a bite to eat with them, where Familian's face changes, and based on that she asks Keima to take her on as an apprentice. The moment Familian saw Keima, she realized that if she was with him, she would have a chance to stop being so useless. Keima explains to her that he can't take on an apprentice when he doesn't have enough adventure experience himself. Familian realizes this and says that she realizes it. After all, she made a reckless request. Familian explains that she is not going to drag her comrades down, for she will work very hard, and if necessary, she is going to do any wish, errand, anything at all that she is ordered to do. Keima then thinks for a moment, realizing that she must be in quite a predicament if she's acting so desperately. Familian pulls a necklace out of her skirt. Showing it to Keima, she explains that this necklace is a memorial gift from her father, and her deceased father was a famous adventurer where he traveled the world visiting historical ruins. We also learn that she admired her father. In those days, she was a little girl and dreamed of becoming an adventurer like him. That's why, when she came of age, she decided to register at the National Academy of Magic to understand the world of adventure. Laura realizes that this is the same magic school that has produced countless successful magicians over the years. This is true, and this school has many different paths to follow. It also turns out that in order to make her dream a reality, Familian devoted all her time to studying to pass her exams. However, when it came to magic, she couldn't master it, and she didn't know any spells other than Fireball. She failed the final exam countless times and was eventually expelled from the academy. But since Familian didn't want to give up, she had a chance to start over, where Keima realizes that's why she started regular let with rank G. Familian also says that she realizes that she is not cut out to be an adventurer, and also says that Keima is her last hope, where even if hope doesn't work out, she won't give up on becoming an adventurer and will go look for another job. Familian looks defeated, saying she doesn't want to regret not doing it until now. Keima realizes this and agrees, saying she'll give the girl some advice, but doesn't promise she'll be able to help her. In return, Familian thanks Keima, making a deep bow.